2025年に4度目の MVP を受賞した大谷翔平選手。今や史上最高の選手として世界に驚きを与え続けている大谷選手ですが、2017年、日ハムからポスティング申請がされた時はアメリカでも非常に大きな話題となりました。この動画では大谷選手がポスティングされた日のアメリカメディアの様子を日英字幕でご紹介します。
The big news this offseason is Ohtani, and one of the big things I took out of it, BK, is traditionally there's been 30 days from the day of posting for the player to come to agreement, and if he doesn't come to agreement, he just reverts to his Japanese team for another year. In this case, it's 21 days. Right? Because part of the reason that the Players Association set a deadline of Monday and ultimately moved it back to Tuesday was concern that this free agent market was being frozen for a variety of reasons, one of them being that teams were waiting to find out what was going to happen with Ohtani. So now they kind of want to get Ohtani off the board as quickly as possible, so it's condensed to 21 days. Keep in mind, there's a guy who's played exclusively in Japan, like he's lived in the dormitories where the players do, like he doesn't have this kind of outside life there. Baseball's been his life. He's going to be coming here and he's going to have to make a life-altering decision which team he's going to play for in a quick period of time. And I think what's fascinating, he has a veteran group of agents who will be in charge of him at CAA who've done tons of big deals. But how do they begin to pare down from 30 teams to a final whatever, 5 or 6? Because remember, all 30 teams will probably, if they're smart, bid the $20 million. Because the $20 million only is lost by the winning team here, is transferred to the Nippon Ham Fighters. Then his salary, his bonus is $3.5 million or less. For a player who's worth 9 figures, you know, maybe 200 million, not just 100 million. Right. So everyone will bid. It doesn't cost a lot of money. So everyone's in. And the question is, how does he begin to pare it down? Does he do like a Kevin Durant thing and set up residence in one place and everybody comes to him? Does he go to the winter meetings where there's 30 teams and try to see as many? Is there enough time to then go on a tour and see 5 or 6 cities and get a feel for facilities where, you know, he'll live? Is there a large Japanese community? A lot has to happen. After all this anticipation for Ohtani, now a lot has to happen between now and Christmas because the owners vote a week from Friday, December 1st. If he is posted the next day, it means he has to sign by December 22nd. So things will start to snowball pretty quickly once this process begins.
There's going to be some real pitch meetings, like in a hurry, right? And how does one team separate from the other if the money is going to be about the same?
Well, that's the thing. And then one thing that is different, even though the previous system is largely grandfathered in, is that under the new CBA, because Ohtani's under 25, he's subject to the international spending limits. So under the old system, and we saw this with Masahiro Tanaka and with the Dodgers pitcher, I'm blanking on Maeda. They would negotiate a big contract, but you can't do that here because you're limited. So money isn't going to be the factor. It's got to be something else. And once he gets the signing bonus, which is what this amount of money is, he's put into the reserve system and he's going to be making the major league minimum and into arbitration and that sort of thing. So it's not going to, normally it would be the contract, but here it's got to be something else. And like Joel, I'm very curious to see what it is that's going to make his decision. One thing I have heard is that he wants to DH. I went, you know, because he's a two-way player and he can pitch and he can hit. But in Japan, he didn't really play much first base or outfield, just really DH. And if you think about it, pitching, hitting, and fielding, maybe that's the one thing that's too much. So maybe there you eliminate the National League teams, but there's not a single American League team that wouldn't be willing to put its current DH in the field or open up that DH spot to see what this kid can do with the way he's hit for power in Japan.
I would imagine, and Jason, I mentioned you were a good hitting pitcher for a United States major leaguer. This guy can hit for power. At least he has in the Japanese leagues. I would figure that would eliminate a lot of these National League clubs. And you're going to have to say you can do what you want, right? You're going to have to say that to him or he's not going to go to you.
No, without a doubt. I mean, this is a skill set that we haven't seen since the turn of the century, and probably the 20th century, not the 21st century. So I think we're all excited to see him come over and put his skills on display. I think with that being said, and to echo what he said, it plays more into the American League hand. The physical and mental demands on a player are tough enough playing one position. Now to add DH and pitching makes it even that much harder. Obviously, he's handled it somewhat to a degree over in Japan. Obviously, he's had an injury, which he had a setback. And with that being said, with the new posting system and him being grandfathered into the old one, I think it makes it a little bit easier where they're not investing 9 figures into players. So right away, maybe he doesn't have to eliminate one position. you're only paying him the minimum. I mean, $3.5 million in today's game is very minute compared to what's out there. So his first year or two salaries are going to be the $500,000, $600,000, just like every other American player goes through. So maybe it could be used more as an experiment and not put all your eggs in one basket right away. So it allows you to go explore other options through trades, through what you have in the system or free agency, and get another DH and see how it plays out the first year or two, because you don't know how he's going to react.
Explain to us before we move on. Like, again, I imagine in high school you're like a great hitter, right? So, yeah. Okay,
like most major leagues.
Yeah, you can say that. It's okay. I can imagine you on Staten Island. You're like the best hitter on the island, but one of the best hitters in New York, and you could also pitch, and you funneled into pitching. Do you think you could, like, what stops a guy like you and most major leaguers from not being able to hit? Like, so even though I could say you hit like 200. That was good for a pitcher. No disrespect.
No, that's
yeah, right. But I'm
okay.
saying, so where did that stop? Is it just do you kind of give up on it, or the training is impossible? Why do we not have two-way players here now?
I just think there's two types of trainings for a position player towards a pitcher. There's different type of athletes. I think the stress it takes on your body, you have to be really strict on your diet, your sleeping habits, the way you recover. And also putting work into your craft. I mean, if you're putting so much time into hitting, you're taking away from your pitching, and vice versa. You put a lot of time into your pitching, you're taking away from as a hitter. So that's why I think, looking at it from a true now financial standpoint, you could take the time a little bit, being that he's not that nine-figure player right now based on the old posting system. You could sort of slowly work away and maybe start him off as a hitter, let him throw some bullpen, some live batting practices to keep the pitching going. Whichever way a team attacks the problem, I think they're in a really good situation.
So, BK, I think we're beginning to hear when to Cliff's point, this is not where money, people say, oh, the money doesn't matter, I'm going to go where the schools are good or whatever. It's like the money is a minimal interest here because the separation is not going to be, his big money in the next few years is going to be made off the field as a giant advertising force back in Japan. And he will be that, and we're not going to have to get a tin cup out for him. But we've already, what's funny is, this guy has not talked publicly in the United States. His agents really haven't talked publicly in the United States. And we've done things like the Yankees are the #1 choice. How do we know that?
Right.
He's going to eliminate National League teams. I think that part of the sales pitch, smart organizations like the Cubs and Dodgers are going to want him. I bet you they've already plotted out. Remember, there's 4 more off days in the new CBA, right, for starting next year. They've probably plotted out, hey, like the Dodgers are saying, look at how we use our starters. We've been using 8 starters a year, whatever.
Yeah.
Here's how we're going to use 6 starters next year, and you could stay on essentially your same schedule. Hey, look at what Joe Madden did. He used to move Travis Wood between the pitching mound and the outfield. We're original thinkers here. We have the best sports scientists. We'll show you how to recover. If you want to do both. This is going to be about recruiting as if he was the best halfback in this country, and he's deciding between LSU and Texas. And it's who kind of gives me the best experience? Because, acting like those guys don't get money, but, who gives me the best college experience? There's going to be a pure recruiting situation, and I think it's going to be fascinating if all truth is told at the end. What was the final sales pitch? Was it about comfort in a city where there's maybe a large Japanese thing? Was it about sports science? Was it about the hitting? What was it that sold you to come to that place? Because this really, for the first time, feels like it's not about money.
The Dodger thing is interesting because, right, you're talking now, we're at the point of not pure bullpenning, but, hey, you're throwing 3-4 innings a pop, and then you hit on this day and you do that. It seems a little more possible now that it's not, no, you must start, every 5th day and boom, 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 and you do that all season, right?
Well, things aren't as conventional as they used to be in the game, and Joe brought up a good point. You're able to now map out, and a lot of these teams are stacking their teams with 6, 7, 8 starters, pulling them out after 5 because the third time through the lineup. Mm-hmm. And I guess with a unique talent like this, and we all want to see him come here and succeed. We really do. I mean, he's something we've been
This
waiting
could
for.
be thrilling.
Could
Absolutely.
be thrilling.
Right.
Just again to go back, because the CBA thing shouldn't be ignored. We're going from 21 off days to 25 starting next year. Mm-hmm. It's a 26-week season. That's essentially 1 off day a week over the course of the year. In Japan, his schedule was start on Sunday. Monday's an off day for everybody. So that's the off day. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he DH'd. Then Friday, Saturday, he prepped for his next start. We are not that far away from if a team wants to do it, and if they're going to get $200 million worth of talent for $3 million, there's a lot of things they'll do to cater to that guy in the recruiting pitch. And that new CBA works a little better to get him than it would have in any other year.
ご視聴いただきありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。